Greetings, everyone, and welcome. It's Sunday once more, which means it's time for another episode of the Captain's Table. A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks since the last episode of the Captain's Table. I've had my high points, and I've had some low points. To start off, we'll talk about my Texas trip. That was definitely the high point of the last 2 weeks, and it was quite enjoyable. Although it was a little bit too warm the first 2 days it was down there, and entirely too cold and wet the last day I was there, it was still overall a pretty fun and enjoyable trip. Got to get, kind of hands-on, at least on the Texas, with an actual piece of history there. Very, very enjoyable. Not a lot of people out there, of course. It's a Tuesday in November, so you don't really expect a lot of people to be out and about visiting the battleship. The battleship itself was pretty impressive to be on, but definitely needs a lot of help. That poor old battle wagon. They said that she was they were pumping out something like 300,000 gallons of water every single day out of her. And, well, all of the holes definitely need to be patched. There's no way they can take her to a dry dock to do it, because A, they don't have the money, and B, nobody is letting them actually move the ship out of her spot into the Houston Ship Canal, as, well, if she sank there, that would cost billions in lost revenue, and yeah, it's not worth it. Definitely not worth it. So, unfortunately, instead, she's just kind of in a limbo state. At least for now. I'd like to go back and visit her at some point in the future when they've completed the plans that they do have in action, which is to basically build a dry dock around her. Drain all the water out, let her settle down onto a concrete keel. And then, they're going to build pathways down there so that you can actually go and explore the underside of the ship. I think that'd be really cool to see, and not a lot of places do that. The second day, of course, visited the USS Lexington. That was also a very, very nice ship to go visit. Did not know that the Lexington offered camping options, specifically 1- and 2-night liveaboards, where you can actually go and stay in one of the berthing areas of the Lexington. I was really, really surprised to learn that. I was also kind of surprised to learn that the Lexington, as old as she is, was actually in service up until 1991, making her pretty much one of the oldest serving carriers in the fleet at the time. Although, granted, in 1991, when she was decommissioned, she wasn't an active, flight line carrier. She was more just a training ship. And I was also impressed to learn that the original Lexington, CV02, actually provided emergency power to the city of Tacoma here in Washington State. And I didn't know that. And I was kind of impressed by that, because I didn't know that ships could do that back in the day. The third day, of course, visiting Galveston, saw the tall ship Alyssa. Didn't take too many pictures of that. You're probably not that interested in that anyway. But I did go and take pictures of the USS Stewart. Now, that is a DE, destroyer escort. And I found it was kind of an interesting setup. They have that destroyer. If you've never been there to Seawolf Park, you've never seen it, they actually have that destroyer is in a hole. They've dug a physical hole in the island and they've plopped it down so it can't go anywhere and it can't rust. Smart. They also did tell us that apparently they found out about 20 years ago when a hurricane rolled over that boat still floats. When the storm surge came in, it just lifted the destroyer up out of its hole. The destroyer didn't go very far, though. It just kind of moved just far enough out of alignment. And then when the storm surge receded, it just dropped back down and then fell on its side. The last day there down in Texas, visiting Johnson Space Center. And That was the day, of course, that it got cold and wet. And by cold and wet, I mean it basically turned into typical Seattle weather. It dropped down to 53 degrees, and it had a not heavy, not quite what you would expect as rain in the region, but definitely rain for the Seattle area. It was basically a very heavy mist that was blowing in sideways. The tram tour was expectedly mostly empty as a result. Well, emptier as a result. The lines weren't very long. You're pretty much only waiting about 10 minutes to get on the next tour. And, of course, there was a reason for that. It's because the tram cars are all open air, and there's no heater. Very, very hot. I'm sure in the summer months, but very, very cold on this particular day. And because of the time frame when we got to Johnson Space Center and got on the tram tours versus when we had to leave to go back to the airport, we didn't get to sit around and see some of the movies that they have available. A little bit disappointed by that, but hey, you know what? There's always something to come back and see. And of course, what I'd really like to do is come back when they finally have the Orion program up and running to go in and see the mission control for that in action. That would absolutely be fun and enjoyable. Now for the low points. Coming back from vacation, unfortunately, I had my long extended weekend of 3 days there, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Plans, effectively screwed up. Because Echo, my new bird, was not ready to come home with me. Still not weaned yet, so where I thought I was going to spend maybe an hour going up and getting her and coming back, instead meant that I was spending 8 hours over the 3 days going up, visiting with her, and then coming back. And that kind of just demotivated me every time I did it, to when I got back, I didn't want to do anything. Which ultimately meant that there was no World of Warships video on Tuesday like there normally would have been. Additionally, the week just didn't go any better from there. In fact, my week has kind of gotten worse. On Tuesday, starting back, my first day back after vacation to work, so basically my Monday. Have you ever had that sinking feeling when you leave your home to go to work, and as soon as you shut the door, as soon as you get in your car, you just know you're going to get there and you're going to have a bad day? Like something, the universe has conspired against you. You are not going to have a good day. That was Tuesday morning for me when I got in my car to go to work. I knew I was going to get there. Somebody was going to be parked in my spot, and they're not going to tell me, which is going to force me to park somewhere else, and they're going to get pissy because I did that. I knew that was going to be the case, and sure enough, that was the case. And I thought I'd get ahead of the pissy argument about where I'm parking preemptively by going in pretty early in the morning, about 9:30 when they're there, ask them who's parked there, ask them how long they're going to be there, and ask them where they would like me to park. Because this is a repeat issue, I'm not so friendly anymore. And apparently I approached it very, very hostile. They felt that I was overly aggressive towards them. Considering this is the fourth time I've had to talk to you guys about somebody parked in my spot and where you want me to park. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of aggressive because you don't seem to get it through your heads that you should tell me so that I'm not coming in blind and then put off in a bad mood for the day. But it got worse from there because then the manager decided that she was going to go ahead and give me a write-up. She didn't call it a write-up, she called it a counseling session. But considering it was a form with a list of things they think that I'm doing wrong, that I had to sign, and that a copy would be sent to HR, yeah, that's a write-up. I don't care what you call that. My manager proceeds to tell me that she had this form ready to go before I went on vacation, but didn't want to give it to me because she wanted me to have a good vacation, and that she had hoped I would come back from vacation more refreshed. Just that kind of, yeah, that just left me kind of just dumbfounded by that statement. On that write-up, only about 2 of the things that they listed were actual legitimate issues, one of which I'm sort of working on or trying to work on, and one of which realistically just needs a verbal agreement and an understanding. My supervisor is very understanding of things. The manager, on the other hand, not so much. So, she also didn't do any talking during this counseling session for any of the things on the list, except the parking and the customer service, because those are the 2 things that she and I are having personal issues with, partly because I didn't jump to her feet one morning and grovel and say good morning to her from halfway across the building, and partly because I repeatedly have to keep coming to her or the assistant manager and need to know where I'm parking or where they would like me to park. As soon as those 2 things came up, she immediately took over and just all sorts to try to jump down my throat on this matter. Wasn't having it. Still not having it. She can say and do whatever she wants. Worst thing she can do is fire me. That's it. That's the worst thing that she can do. And then I'll just go collect unemployment and very, very quickly find a new job. And I say that the worst thing she can do is fire me. It's not the worst thing for me. It's the worst thing for her. Because it means now she has an unexpected vacancy at a job that's absolutely necessary, that there's just not enough qualified candidates actively hunting for those jobs. One of the things that was on that write-up, though, that was total and utter bullshit, was that they said I was on my cell phone too much. But I'd like to emphasize that if I'm in a unit and I'm turning it, yeah, my cell phone's going to be out and I'm going to have a YouTube video or music playing because I want to be entertained. Painting does not entertain me. It's something to do, but it's boring as fuck. If I'm out and about and I'm moving somewhere and you see me on your phone, which is mostly where you're going to see me on my phone, I'm probably responding to somebody's text message. So they told me I was on my phone too much, and then, of course, after that, the whole rest of the day, they would only communicate with me via text message and email. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Immediately following that, I basically squirreled myself off somewhere in the building, and then started looking for new employment. So, effectively, right now, I am looking for a new job. But I'm not looking for a new job in residential maintenance. I don't want to go to another property management company. I don't really want to go to another building, because I'm just going to get the same shit with a different manager and a different company. And what I mean by the same shit, in some cases, I mean the literal shit. I'm tired of picking up dog shit out in the courtyard. I'm tired of picking it up on the roof. I'm tired of picking it up off the sidewalks around our building. I'm tired of picking up people's cigarette butts and beer cans. I'm tired of cleaning up after my coworkers when they have a resident party or event. I'm tired of cleaning up after them when they go up and they have a personal or private event. I'm tired of cleaning up after them when they have one of these events and they use one of our vacant ready units and they trash it and then come back and tell us that it's not vacant ready and that we need to fix all these issues in it. Well, I'm tired of dealing with that. You work here, you fix them, because you made the mess. There are certain aspects of my job that I really truly enjoy and that I get fulfillment doing. Troubleshooting problems, repairing appliances, patching holes, because I get to see a progression of it broke. What wrong? Oh, now I get to fix. But most of the rest of my job is just, it's a groundskeeper And if I wanted to clean up other people's messes outside or inside, I would go be a porter or a groundskeeper and not have to deal with half of this bullshit because no, it's not in my job description, so I'm not doing it. So the jobs that I'm looking for are in a similar line, in a similar field. Things like garage door, front door, locksmithing, fire suppression systems, getting into that industry, or just simply switching over to the commercial side of things. And I say the commercial side of things, I don't really expect too much in the way of dealing with residents. Certainly not having to go into their units and seeing how people live. I don't get a lot of fulfillment out of that. So hopefully with the commercial side, it'll be more, fixing common area places, dealing with that stuff where it's a safety hazard, and I can get fulfillment out of making sure that I'm taking care of things before they become major issues. I've already had a callback on one of them. I had a phone interview with them on Friday. Hopefully on the 26th, which I need to email them, I will have an in-person interview with that job, and I'll be able to go forward with that. I have a phone interview with a building engineering position, actually, at a clinic just a couple blocks from where I currently work. Hopefully, if everything goes well, I'll be able to move forward with that as well. So, in the meantime, though, what that means for this channel, what that means for World of Warships, is that I am going to be a little bit busier than I normally would. Provided that Echo comes home today, I'll have a little bit more time, but if not, I'm going to have even less time. I will try and get videos out to you. The best way that you guys can do that, for me at the very least, is to send me replays. I will do my best to take a look at them and record them and get at least those up, because I'm not sure I'm going to have the time to be able to play World of Warships enough to get good, high-quality gameplay footage for you on my end. And have the time to record voiceover and put them up on YouTube. Still, though, everything is in flux. I'm still trying to keep up with it. But this last week, at the very least, has not been conducive to that. Anyway, I'd like to wish every single one of you here in the United States a happy Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy the turkey, get drunk, play some World of Warships, or just anything in general. Just go have a good, relaxing weekend, and get, of course, all of those wonderful deals on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. As always, see you guys next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.